Well, it's been a long, long wave. Sometimes after a long session, the best thing to do is to come on into the beach and talk about all the waves you had and the things you've done. So here we go. I really don't have much to say about this slide, except that surfing in New England is beautiful. This is a shot of surfing in Maine, Ogunquit River mouth, 2005. That's a true 12-foot wave. If you look closely, the little black dots on the inside are surfers. And then there's the next day. That's me coming out of the water at York Beach, and a nice wave there, Maine, 2005. But beside the surfing itself, the big thing about the sport was the relationships. Surfing was a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and from the start we were involved in meeting, in gathering, and in writing. So this is a kind of a historic photo because it shows the first meeting of the North Shore Boston Surfers and the Hot Beach Surf Club and the Beach Boys Surf Club from Hull. I think this took place in 1964. Then down below in the center there's a shot of George and Pat McDonald, who, first article I know in Boston Globe, 6/15, I think 65, and they were very interested in starting a surf school. And finally then over on the left is a poster from a movie showing we did, Locked in 1965, 5 showings. You know, surfers are usually laughing and waves are a place to be gleeful. A couple of these cartoons are great. Lady saying to the guy who's practicing there, "Philip, you know what they said about those Beach Boys," and that kind of music. And then one about the surfboard franchise, particularly interesting for me with the Hobie franchise. Red Eye got a franchise for Wipeout surfboards in the desert. Well, the history of Narragansett Surf Shops a little bit shows here. The clipping down on the lower left talks a little bit about the exposure we got in the Providence Journal, and the headline, which I kind of rude and didn't talk much about, was Colt has Harvard leader. Anyway, that's me, and there's Wes, and there's somebody with one of their new Hobie boards down there again. One set of events that brought the tribe together was the surf contest we had. In addition to my surf shops, I had a dual role as District 7 Director for the United States Surfing Association. We had contests in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine. For years each state had its own, but then we had an overall New England Championships. And these are 3 great surf shots. First one shows the New Hampshire winners, Andy Jones, Cindy Dolan, our great discoveries out of New Hampshire. Lower left shows George Pitts looking truculent in his helmet, me with my Hobie t-shirt on, talking as usual. And best of all, a bunch of kids trying to keep warm on the beach around sunrise before the first New England Championships in Matunic, Rhode Island. It was a great time. You know, I wonder if we did it all for trophies. Some great pictures here. Junior LeBlanc surfing. I think it was more about the audience on the beach. Trips and contests were really all about was the camaraderie and the adventure. We surfed, we raced, we showed off. Here's the Seacraft surf team resplendent in that great year of 1968. Overall, we hated to see it end. That's one of the team members, even on his way back to the shop. You know, some of it's like tandem surfing. Get boys and girls together, it's always fun. Rules should say whoever brings the cupcakes gets the sweets. Of course, we were always traveling. The Hobie hearse was coming to you from the start, going and going. And sometimes we used it for other than just advertising. Shot on the right, secluded spot in Nantucket. I'm not going to tell if you won't. Of course, for surfing, you needed surfboards. And that's where Hobie came in. On the right is a board card. That's how we ordered custom boards for everyone. This is one of Ronnie's, and I still have the originals for most of them. The Surfer magazine ad on the left, which listed our shops in New England, gave an idea of the infinite variety which could be created. Of course, for rentals, we made our own boards and skateboards as well. That's one of our original labels. And finally, Hobie's kept going. That's his current boat catalog in the inset at the top. I mentioned earlier that surfing was a real brotherhood and sisterhood, a fraternity as well as a sorority. And we sorely miss the people that we've lost. I love this picture of Dave Williams. Dave owned the Weber shop in Hull and was a good friend as well as a great competitor. I thought it would be appropriate to juxtapose this photo of him with shots of other great competitors. Roger on the nose at the Virginia Beach Championships, and Johnny Flynn with one of his signature drop knee turns. These are great shots from Roger Crawford's archives. No question, the men and women of surfing set the styles in the 1960s. These photos are great examples. Roger Crawford, hard at work in the shaping room. Roger always took it seriously. Maybe that's the reason he makes such beautiful boats now. Minnie Cushing was one of our icons. She bought a classic Hobie from us. She's pictured here with it in Newport. We gave her lessons on it, and she later told me she passed that on to Jackie Kennedy, showing her how to surf on that board. Sue Paskowski was a girl on our team who summered in New England, all the way from FLA. A real beauty. Ronnie couldn't stop taking pictures of her. And then the last shot on the left is one of John Burns, Roger, and the Hobie team. Style setters all. Of course, skateboarding was another thing that set the style, and guys came from California, the Hobie skateboard team here. Pictures of them, and then some more cartoons. Loved the jokes we made about it. But they were good skaters, and they were good surfers. And finally, the Californians really contributed a lot to us. The Hobie skateboard team and the Hobie surf team kind of graced us with their presence. At least they taught us how to drink Black Russians and Galliano Stingers.
Cause we're and pumped on board. Yeah, we're and pumped on board.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. I didn't put much music in here, but that's actually Corky Carroll and the Cool Water Casuals, and that's their song. Tells a little bit about their interests. Actually, Corky's pretty good too. Anybody wants me to, I'll play the whole thing for him. Anyway, we had a bunch of adventures, and here's the crew in the Hobie hearse going out to Nantucket, and Freddie Silton, some of you remember him, always stoked, Vitamin C in the beginning, Windswept Coast at Nantucket, and our taking off on Bruce Brown's idea of the endless summer, which, by the way, we showed New England 24 times when it was still on 16 millimeter, long before he blew it up to 35, took it to Kansas, and made a huge hit. I contrasted this Sandel's album cover with the realities of surfing in New England. For us, it was both summer and winter. The beautiful shot I showed earlier of Maine in October was great fall surf, but the other one I love is of a great left in Port Joli, Nova Scotia, in the hard, deep winter, and they surf up there then. So did we, of course. I remember Freddie and me on the Boston North Shore in a 5-degree blizzard, 27-degree water, pushing the saltwater slush out of the way. I knew we weren't the only ones. Surfing, for us, it equaled searching, no matter what the time of year. Surf music, surf style. A couple of these things were great. They're from album covers I had. Dewey Weber, The Little Man on Wheels. Mickey Munoz doing the original Quasimodo. And finally, ultimate surf music, playing your Fender guitar on the board. From those days, we sure remember the partying too. Remember playing Wooly Bully, which we heard on the site. It just was a real trip back for me, because we remember it blasting out of Bill Spence's surf nightclub, Wooly Bully, Satisfaction, right in the back of the patching room. So when we wanted to get away from the resin smell, we just went right to the music. Surf photography made a significant contribution to the style and impact of surfing in the 1960s, and no one captured the mood and style of the sport in New England better than Ron Pare. Ron was always talented in a number of ways, and the only reason you don't see more pictures of him surfing here was he was willing to chronicle our dance with the ocean on film. Next few slides are a tribute to him and his efforts. We hope you like it. So I put in a little bit showing some of the pictures, but it was always about poetry, but it was about physics too, and how you did things was important. So being an engineer, I had to put a little bit of the wave sort of physics, but also here's Freddie Silton demonstrating the equations in art. We traveled New England far and wide, but it was usually Ronnie's lens that captured the flow in the locale, as you see here. Ron Ayers sliding gracefully at the Marconi site, Cape Cod, Bruce Balin at South Beach, Nantucket, and Fred Silton going left inside Narragansett Pier. Simple surfing elegance. Well, I told you we love cartoons, and here we got one where Snoopy hits surf, and of course it's all about impressing that girl Beagle. So that's the first panel, and then the second panel, he ends up full of water, so be careful because you might wipe out. And Surf's Up, Snoopy surfing became a real icon. For Ronnie and the teams, contests may have been one reason to travel, but we got in plenty of soul surfing too. These three shots capture both. At right, Fred Silton, strong left in the winter of 1965. Below, going right with his beaver tail wetsuit flying. And finally at left, Frank Cook, beautiful right that brought him first place in the Rhode Island Championships, October 1965. In fact, back then all we wanted to do was surf, and ended up in California quite a bit. Here's a guy at Trestles going left. Looks like he's doing pretty good. Here's the Surf News from 1965. Kukan tops the Southern California men's. But now it's even better because part of my family lives out there. There's our crew in 2008, and our grandson Will Jr., Will III rather, with his father at Doheny. Beautiful line there. And as you can see, little Willie likes to play. I can't wait to get into surfing. So I started now talking a little bit about some pictures that I think you all get a kick out of. These are, I call Ronnie's blue power surfers, because New England surfers went all over the world. Here's Junior LeBlanc at the Eastern Surf Championships, classic move. Ronnie Ayers at the Eastern Surf Championships in Virginia Beach. And finally, on the left, the caption on this photo is Nancy from Hull. Beautiful small wave. I wonder if any of you could identify her. Who wants to? And as far as traveling, we had our own maps. So there's a regular mobile travel map of southern New England that we poured over. But then some guys made maps for us. So Steve McGowan, who was a great cartoonist, made this map of Surfing Guide to Horseneck. And then down below, South Shore firing. This is a photograph from the site that's just great. South Shore really still fires. We loved it when visitors came to New England and travelers from all over surfed with us. They affirmed us and even named some new breaks. Here are three shots that tell good stories. Torger Johnson from the Hobie skateboard team surfing East Matunic, so he got the privilege of naming it Little Trestles. Dave Rockland's classic style at Mary's Bar in Matunic, and Dave's classic Cheater 5. I guess he was channeling Paul Stroud in Rhode Island. Some of the stories I like to tell best are when I really screwed up. Boys wearing bathing suits with flowers, I mean really. But Dave Rockland twisted my arm and his uncle sent us 6 dozen over my grumbling. When they came in, Ronnie put on a pair of jams and a jam hat, strung the tiki around his neck and walked down to the beach, announcing, kind of looking toward the water, "Jams are here." I said, "Yeah," and just kept surfing. But when I got back to the shop about an hour ago and asked how we did, the answer was we're all sold out. So another called Hawaii and we buy more jams and we sold them again and again. What do I know?
Well, Granny's wearing one by the hot dog stand, and she's putting on quite a show. Yeah, in her one-piece topless bathing suit.
Now more of Ronnie's photography. Waves in contests were a special challenge. If the wave wasn't big enough, make a dramatic move. Here's Ron Pare's classic photo of Frank Cook's Quasimodo at the New England Championships in Narragansett. It worked. Frank won first place. One of the fun things about chronicling surfing in New England was the articles we wrote. Ronnie and I did this story in Surfer Magazine, November 1965, which was based, of course, on the previous summer. These are Ron Pare's original photos on the right. Well, you know, John Sefferson made it all look great, and we were in good company with the Phil Edwards article in the same issue. As background for this one, I couldn't resist putting in a couple of more songs. Summer's Comin', nominally a country song by Clint Black, and a more recent cut, Big Big Summer by the Shells. Hope you like them. Full versions are on the Surf Jukebox.
Nothing on earth that'll get me humming like a heat wave coming. I'll come running with me, making that 10 in the broad daylight. And every night is a Saturday night. Everything's right with the summer coming. I'm the first one standing in line. For my day in the sun, I've been working till the sun don't shine. Well, the temperature's rising, that's what I wanna hear. The sun is blazing and the sky is blue and clear. Some people like winter and other people dig the fall. But in my humble opinion, one thing is the greatest of all. I got a big, big summer coming on. From the birthday school till the leaves all covered in lawn. Gonna come and surf and swim, and next day do we not care. I got a big, big summer coming on. Got a bone for a wax up and ready to go.
So to even it up, I left the music off this one, but one of the best things in addition to articles was for the magazines to do artwork on you. Surfing and art were always closely linked. It took me years to realize that the silhouette on the Surfing East article at the right was me. And as far as the picture, you have to realize I had cleaned up for it. Here, it's a quick shot, is one of me in high school with a little more edge. So why did we love it? It was the uniqueness of a place and time. New England rocks. I love this photograph, Ronnie's photograph of Junior LeBlanc as he puts it in a mess with Big Rock outside in the hot. And there's Dave Rockland cranking at Mary's. And another surfer, I don't know who it is, but Into the Peak. Great shot. So now I want to give you a little background on what brought me here and kind of what leads me on. And I started out on the beach and in the water. I guess I could stand in my shoes and I couldn't get rid of it. There I am in 1944. My dad was stationed in Florida during the Second World War. We lived about a block from the beach, and I body surfing from the time I can remember. This photograph on the right is me with a 655-pound tuna in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia in 1954. I was about 15. And then finally in the center, you can't see it real well, but I had a 1929 Chevrolet drag car with a 47 J2 Olds engine in it, and attracted a bunch of followers, even in those days. Time catches up with you. This is an article I did in New Jersey Star Ledger, I guess mid-'80s. But we still crank some big waves. That's a pretty nice little wave. After the ocean swim and after surfing and swimming, I was just exhausted, so there I am. But now things get even better because we got our grandchild in California calling. Don't have too much to say about this, except that surfing never leaves you. I guess you got to do something when you're inland. And a table turned upside down, and it's nothing but a landlocked surfboard. I try to look back, my view, looking back, we were all surf stars then. And these are 4 pictures that came from the archives that I just love. Johnny Burns surfing at Hull, I guess, and Rip Amantia and Joe Crossan. Thought that was a great picture. Johnny Flynn in a picture with Steve and Wes Woll, who are on the Hobie team. And then finally Roger and the Hobie team in their triumph in New Hampshire. Then there's one slide I've been waiting to do, and that's the story of Annie Jones Brown. She was a bright star from New Hampshire, a real champion, just as she still is now. She and her teammate Cindy Dolan and Annie's sister Kathy, who not only won all the contests, but won everybody over. We came up with a slogan, El hombre que traiga las rubias vence, or in English, the one who brings the blondes wins. Still true today. Been too long. But today we're all surf stars. Look at us now. Wes Woll with Maury Sheehan and Bob Coletti in California. Jim Gilbert, the founder of Showboat Yachting Magazine, who lives in Seattle, was on the Hobie team. Roger still paddling, still active, building beautiful boats. And Mark Richardson, the inspiration and the genius who put this reunion all together. So my appeal is, let's stay close. Ron sent me a picture of his son or grandson at Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado. And I realized he was only a few miles from a woman named Linda Peters, who started Bikini Surf Shops in Maine in the 60s. Great lady. Linda's living in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And, you know, it's a pity if we pass like ships in the night and don't see each other. So my appeal is, let's stay friends. Then finally on the families that kind of put this presentation together, Ronnie and his wife Elaine, their sons David, Mark, and Andrew, still riding hard. I love the 2 photographs here, the bareboat charter, Old Man in the Sea, Key West of the Bahamas, and the next Pare generation getting waterlogged. My family too, a little bit of the same thing. There's our crew at Sunset Beach in 1984. Talked a little bit about some of that later on. There's our crew in the West Indies, Will at Tortola, Tom at St. Bart's, and then finally Will and Karen in the next generation. Thought you'd like that. So to sum it all up, I've another Gary Ing song. I know Mark liked the other one, Old Surfer's Rule. So Mark and team, I hope you like this one just as much. As Gary Ing says, let's get back to the beach and let's have a perfect summer. So why not surf? Couple pictures here. Me at Old Man's, typically a little out of trim. I guess it was February of this year. Fun waves. And then cradling the next generation surfers. This is my nephew Carl Dam when he was about 4 years old. He's getting married next week, so that'd be fun. And finally, Old Surfers Rule. I don't know if you guys know Derek Dorner, but he's, among other things, a 50-foot big wave surfer himself, and also Laird Hamilton's sled driver. And that's me, him, and a guy named Todd Thompson, who's been surfing with me for probably 40 years in New Jersey. Good guy. So why not keep going? Here's my grandson Derek Somers, born 11/2007. This is Balder's grandpa. Here I use the slogan again. And then here's Roger with his grace and style. And finally Woody Brown, who died at 96. I have pictures of him in another book, Surfing at 92. So I guess good night. One more slide. And here's a little bit of the future. We got to keep the oceans right. As you know, I'm a director of the SEA. We protect the ocean. We have a lot of fun too. This is Cane Garden Bay in Tortola. Little beach replenishment. We're having a reef built. We were able to raise a few bucks in New Jersey, and maybe we'll do that here. We'll do it in other places. But there's the ride, and check out our website, seasurfer.org, and also join us if you can for the Sea Paddle 2008